most consistent thing that came out of all the sessions for me is that English people put all of their accolades at the end or don't say them at all. And we had to dig out of almost everybody accolades that belonged right up front at the head of the pitch. And I understand that it's a cultural thing. However, you should all, again, be proud of yourself and proud of your business. And I'm sure when you evangelize and you go around talking to people in a different context, you do talk about these things. And so my suggestion would be that when you're pitching in front of an audience, and we said this in the groups, you have to think of everybody as an individual. Everybody's just sitting in a room together, but talk about what you love about your business. It's all very exciting, and you know, don't be held back by being English.
Once you understand exactly how your product or service will facilitate whatever it is you're trying to convey, also understand what the potential roadblocks may be from their perspective. Because sometimes a potential gap or an issue, an objection, if converted properly and internalized with your prospect, could turn out to be something that really doesn't necessarily end up being a hurdle or an obstacle. It's something that allows you to move your product forward. So I would just say understand the value proposition of your product and how it uniquely addresses the pain points of the profile type that you want to sell your products to.
The first thing was that the biggest problem that I see is that people get so hung up on, well, I need to have this amazing website, and then I need to have my brochure, and then I have to have all of my business cards, and then I've got to have all my social platforms set up, and they always have to get the next thing done and get all of these things done. In the meantime, they're not selling anything. And the biggest thing that I tell people is just get out and sell. Get out and sell and do what you're planning on doing. And I talk to a lot of people that want to become coaches or trainers, and it's like, get out and start coaching people. Make sure you like it before you invest all this money in it. Sell what you can to raise some money that's going to help pay for a website and brochures if it's needed, and help with social and everything. Get out and just prove that you can do what you want to do. And it doesn't mean that you have to sell £1 million worth, but sell a pound worth. Sell something, okay? Just prove that you can do it and that you like it and that you understand the process. And you can have all the passion in the world, but if you don't understand how to address the need that they have, or that you're even solving a problem out there, just get out and prove it first. Then you can build all that other stuff with other people's money that bought your product or services from you. And the tip that I'd share with you on sales is to really understand your sales process. And from one of my mentors, Steve Schiffman, you have to understand the steps that you have in your process. And Annette kind of alluded to this before when she said that you're not selling on your pitch. Okay, the step of your pitch is to get the next appointment. So if you've got a 4-step selling process, your step of number 1 isn't to close the deal. Step number 1, the goal is to get to step number 2. And the goal of step number 2 is to get to step number 3. And the goal of step number 3 is to get to that next step. And if that's your closing step, then that's where you close. If you rush it, you're going to move too fast for the person. Now they can move you along quicker, okay, but don't try to skip the steps. They're there for a reason. So learn what your steps are, learn what the process is, and just understand that step 1 is to just get you to the next step.
I come from Silicon Alley in the early mid-90s as an early adopter in the first entrepreneur wave, okay? And there weren't that many people online at the time. And the way that people worked in those days was it was a culture of bootstrapping. And what happened was people had a day job, they built their business, and then they went into the business once they were selling something and could support themselves. Now, I think that raising money is a great idea when you're ready to raise money, but my biggest tip, honestly, would be don't just go out and raise money. Because if you can bootstrap, do it. Keep your equity, keep your company, and understand what you're doing when you get involved with investors. So a lot of the time I'm working with people who are pitching and everybody just wants money. All right, hang on. Okay? As soon as you borrow money, not borrow money, but as soon as you split your company, you're getting into bed with people. And not just for a one-night stand, right? So just when you go to raise money, make sure you know why you're raising money, you know exactly who you're raising money with, and what the implications are. And the people I've worked with who have been the most successful are people who've raised money much later down the line rather than earlier on, when they had a track record, when they had more leverage. You have more leverage with the investors.
I would say that to remember that hope is not a business strategy. That you have to go a little American on it, like we talked about, and you have to ask people to connect with you. You can't hope that they're going to connect with you. And if you just do that little bit, you'll be amazed at how quickly your following is going to grow, and that following is going to build the connections that's going to draw even more people to you and help you be successful.
I am rather boring because I have a tendency to use this all the time. It's sort of a combo platter here. I think that if you can think about talking with everybody you meet as starting a conversation that listeners want to continue. So you're taking into account how people listen, and you are asking for what you want in a nice way. But to remember that don't try to close. In a way, there's no such thing as sales per se. You start hitting people over the head, they're going to hit you back, right? So if you can start a conversation listeners want to continue until you get to the point where you know there's a deal in the works, that's, I think, your biggest business advantage. And just to remember that that's the way you get business. That's how you get people to engage, and it's the way you learn about what they need.
Starting a business is not easy. It's a journey, and when you start off, you don't know where you're going to end up. So my advice would be try to be determined and see the journey through, but be prepared to make changes along the way. There's more than one road, always more than one road to the end. So just keep in mind there may be alternatives to what you're doing.